If you are a married man and your wife is not very nice to you, what should you do? What if she acts so negatively around the house and is impacting your children and they're picking up all these bad habits from her? What can you do? Alan Parr is going to answer that question for us. Glad you're joining us today for another marriage question that came from our Marriage Questions Conference. I always say I don't think there was ever a conference like this before. We spent 8 hours answering over 80 difficult marriage questions. We did this conference because people email me marriage questions, and I just really turned them over to these three guys, Mike Winger, Alan Parr, and Sean McDowell, their websites. I'm like, I don't know, they have better answers than I do because my forte is not just in marriage alone. So I knew that these guys had great Bible knowledge, and I knew that they would be really, really good. So this particular question was answered by Alan Parr, and the question was, what should a man do if his wife is not very nice to him or the kids? Watch this. Okay, our last question. Oh, here it is. It's our which question, okay? What should a man do when his wife really is like a witch with a B? There you go. She's mean, she's unkind, the kids learn bad habits from her. And as a husband, you know you're supposed to love your wife, but kind of women, like we know women, and we can be kind of mean and not nice sometimes. So what do you do if a husband is dealing with this?
Yeah, so when I initially saw this question, I wondered if it was a typo, but clearly.
Well, I'm dealing with all these Christian YouTubers, and I'm like, oh, if I put in the right word, they're going to be like, wow, Lisa. Like,
yeah, a Christian man who submitted this knew that he couldn't use the different letters.
Right.
So he's like, how can I communicate how my wife is? I'm just going to call her a witch.
Right, exactly.
Right, so, so, the first thing that I would say if your wife is a witch, all right, is to tell her to stop, first of all right? No, but seriously, try to determine the root cause of her bitterness. Because oftentimes, these types of things can be because there's some underlying bitterness. That's really oftentimes why people might lash out and treat people in an unkind ways, because there's something else going on. She's probably not just angry and bitter and witchy, okay?
There you go.
Just because she wants to be. Who wants to be that way? Nobody wants to be that way. So you have to go back and say, okay, what's the underlying issue? So there's several things that you might want to explore if you're a man. Stress, right? Is your wife under a significant amount of stress at this point in her life? Because we all know if that's the case, that stress level can oftentimes lead to negative behavior, being unkind, things like that. Fatigue, okay? Is it a situation that my wife might be overworked, overwhelmed, overcommitted, and she's just fatigued? Because we know that if you don't get the proper amount of rest throughout the night, right? For instance, I'll give you a perfect example. Be transparent with you all. Praise God, by the grace of God, I want to say it's October, we were blessed or August, I think, we were blessed to be able to bring my wife home, and now she's full-time here with the kids, as well as, kids are still at school, but she's full-time with the ministry, and life is so much better, all right? But she had a high-powered career, working at a Fortune 500 company, and then she was also trying to take care of two kids. At that time, they were 3 and 4, now they're 4 and 5, also trying to help me with the ministry, trying to meet my needs, trying to do this, trying to cook, trying to do all these things. And she was fatigued. She was stressed. And if I'm honest, like sometimes, even to her admittance, the way she might treat me and the kids, it wasn't maybe in the kindest way at times. But so what I had to do, I had to figure out, okay, how can I take this load off of her so that I can get back and help her get back to the woman that I married, this loving, kind, sweet, joyful person that I fell in love with. And you know what? we were able to get back there because of the stress and the fatigue that was lifted off of her. So find that. It could be resentment. It could be something that what happened earlier on in your marriage. Could be a week ago, could be a day ago, could be 5 years ago. That's just not dealt with yet, right? And that is like undergirding every way that she's communicating with you. Like basically every way that she's interacting with you is coming from a foundation of resentment that has not yet been resolved. Could be depression. She could be dealing with depression. It could be that she feels unappreciated, right? And she's not telling you that she's unappreciated, but she feels that way. And so because you're not showing her that type of appreciation, she's just bitter and angry. Or it could be something with her childhood, okay? So try to figure out the root cause of it. And also, finally, help her try to see the effect of her attitude and how it might be having on the children, because that was part of the question. Help her understand, you know what, when you display this type of behavior in front of our kids, whether it's towards our kids or whether it's towards me, our kids are picking up these habits, they're picking up these way that you talk, and this could be the detriment. This is a way that it could be detriment for our family, right? And then the last thing I'll say is don't allow your spouse, whether it's your wife or your husband, to pull you out of your Christian character, right? They might be unkind to you, but make sure that you don't allow their lack of kindness to then pull you out of your Christian character to cause you to be unkind towards them.
All right, hopefully that helped you. If you want to watch the rest of the whole entire session that Alan did, I will put a link below. Have a really good day.